All right, guys, welcome to our new coach leader call. I'm so excited to have everybody on. If you're on with us live or you're watching the recording, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check this out. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. And okay, I have like 1,000 windows up. Get rid of some of these. Okay, so I'm going to go full screen in a second, but after we get to the part where I have everybody introduce themselves super quick. But just to give you an idea of what this call is going to be, it's simply because you guys are going through the training right now. Most of you, you're either in the 7-day quick start or you're in the 21-day new coach training, and you're learning a bunch of different things. So this call isn't necessarily until the very end. I do teach some things, but I'm not going to go too much into it because we actually have a whole day that I go through it in the training. I'm just going to kind of briefly touch on it. But this call is really to figure out, why are you here? Why do you want to do this? And for you specifically, because it's going to be different for everybody. And then kind of how to figure out a game plan as to how to get to whatever the goals are that you have. Because obviously we all want to help people, but we all have a deeper mission of, you know, what we want to achieve with helping people. So you're going to help people. It's going to help you start to earn an income. So when you have that income, you know, what do you want to do with it? So we're going to kind of go over that. So to give you a little bit of background on myself, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alexis Doss. I am the founder of Team Confidence. Actually, in 3 days, it'll be my 5-year anniversary of signing up as a coach. My hair is dripping wet all over my new sweater. Sorry, guys. And well, my boyfriend's about to get home, so the dogs are getting crazy. Go upstairs. Sorry. Okay, I promise I'm going to concentrate. On March 22nd, it'll be 5 years that I've been a coach, and it's crazy to think how far I've come. I know a lot of you guys, you know, follow me on Instagram, and you watch the team calls and you see the confidence that I have, because I talk to you a lot of you guys about it. But I want you to understand that where I am now, I was so not in that place when I first started coaching. I was confused. Hi, Nicole. I was confused. I didn't really know, you know, what I wanted to do. I didn't know my confidence level, or not that I didn't know my confidence level. I didn't know how to increase my confidence levels. And I struggled with all of the same things you're struggling with. So don't think, you know, the fact that I'm even running this call, if you told me 5 years ago that I'd be running this call, I would have told you were crazy. So just have high hopes and high faith in yourself that you can achieve great things, because I never thought that I would be doing anything like this. Okay, so I went to school to be a high school history teacher, and long story short, moved over to the West Coast with a guy I had been dating, and he ended up being a pathological liar. I was homeless for like 3 months. I was depressed. I was suicidal. I had anxiety. I was 40 pounds overweight. I hated myself. I hated everyone else. And like, that's when I started as a coach. So if you yourself are maybe thinking, I'm not in the right place to be a coach, or maybe you're going to talk to people, because it's the number one objection we hear from people is, I'm not in the right place to be a coach yet. Coaching isn't, you don't wait till you're in the right spot to become a coach. You join coaching and it gives you the tools that you would not otherwise have by yourself. So just so you know, when you're talking to people, or if you feel that way, it's okay. So before I get into the meat of the call, I just want to go through and have everybody introduce themselves. I'm going to unmute you as I see you, because you're in a different order than you probably see yourself. All I want you to do, keep it super simple. Just so we can respect everybody's time. Just tell us your name, where you're from, and then what was the reason that you decided to join as a coach, and then finish with what is your biggest fear and what are you most excited about. But I will remind you as you go. So Tiffany, I see you first, so I'm going to unmute you. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so tell us your name, where you're from, and what was the reason that you decided to join as a coach.
All right, I'm Tiffany Van Bloomer. I'm from Kaukauna, Wisconsin. I joined because I wanted to get fit myself and like learn how to eat healthier, and then also help other people who want to get to where I want to be.
Awesome.
I don't know, I think one of my biggest fears, I guess, could be that I have a hard time going out and actually talking to other people, and like gathering them to talk to me too. So I don't like rejection.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about?
I kind of want to go to Summit. It seems like a really good thing, and I'm gonna try and shoot my way to get to where I can go to Summit.
You gotta make it happen, girlfriend. I was a coach for 3 months when I went to my first Summit. I signed up in March, and I went to Summit that same year. And it was life-changing. It's like it's the coolest event ever. And for me, one of the coolest things is when we do the super workout, and we work out with 25,000 people in the streets of whatever city we're in. It's the most overwhelmingly like beautiful thing ever. I cry every time. It's just such an amazing event, and it's what made me realize, oh my God, this is what I want to do. So I really recommend going to Summit. In terms of your fear, that's normal. Honestly, and I'm going to share a story at the end of the call. I'm going to share some Beachbody coach people. I'm going to share some like Beachbody coach people that are one of the coaches is Mindy Wender. She is one of the most introverted people in the world, and she's one of the most successful Beachbody coaches. So the beauty of this business is you can do pretty much everything online. Now, building locally is very beneficial, but you don't have to do that. I have built my business to where it's at now almost exclusively to Instagram. So if you do want to build locally, that's fine. But if you're like, I'd rather just like talk to strangers and like hide behind my computer in the beginning, totally fine, because I did too. So that's really okay. You will build up your confidence. The more you, just like riding a bike, you ride your bike, you fall down, and eventually you learn balance. So it's the same with that, not being afraid to talk to people. The more you do it, the more you like say the wrong thing, and you do this, you do that. It's all about trial and error. So don't be afraid to fail. If you are afraid of rejection, you don't like rejection, there is actually a book called The Fear of Rejection. I can't remember who the author is, but I would definitely check that out. Also, Go for No. Both of those books are really, really good for that. Awesome. Okay, thank you, Tiffany. All right, Morgan, hi. So tell us your name, where you're from, and why did you join as a coach?
All right, so my name's Morgan Wicken. I'm from Norwich, Connecticut. Why I joined as a coach. So I've like been someone who's loved like athletics and working out like my whole life, because I've always been struggling with my weight and like my energy levels and all that stuff. So I wanted to join as a coach, one, for my own journey, to kind of help my energy levels, help my weight and all of that. But then also like to help other people who are going through similar things as me. I have, I think it's 4 or 5 years now, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis and hypothyroidism and gastritis, which all didn't help with anything. So an explanation to like my excessive like tiredness and like weight gain and all that stuff. So I just want to be a part of like this community that like, one, is going to help me grow, and 2, I can help others grow.
Exactly. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I honestly joined as a coach. Well, I didn't even know I was going to like make this a living. I just joined for the community because I was like, everybody seems so happy. Like I want to be happy.
Right.
So what is your biggest fear, and what are you most excited about?
Biggest fear would be going on this journey, and like I've like already talked to like my parents, and I was actually just finishing day 4 of the 7-day quick start, and this is one of like the things that I was saying in it. Someone who's fitted, I really like strive for like my parents' approval and stuff like that. And I've already talked to them about a lot of this, and they do not approve of any of it. It's because they don't understand it. And so like I'm fearful of not having that support. But I feel like I know I'm going to get it with you guys.
Yeah.
So I think that's my biggest fear, is just like not having the support of the people that I love. Yeah. And then I think my biggest like, or what I'm like most excited about, is the community aspect of all of this. I think that I've always just been a community person. So
yeah. I know you played college sports, a badass college sport player. So I know that feeling. So in terms of having people that don't support you, I like that you brought this up, because I like to bring it up on this call at some point. So you reminded me. That is that there, and this is for you guys to know, if you're on live, you're watching the recording, and then for you to let people know when you have new coaches join your team. There are going to be people on both sides. One of my coaches, Carly, she is was one of the most successful coaches in the company. She was number 7 in the company in 2014. She killed it. She crushed it. When she first joined, her parents supported her right away. Her mom and her dad both signed up and made her go Emerald, like immediately, like in the first week, supported her, didn't even ask any questions. Me, on the other hand, when I first joined, my parents were like, when are you going to get a real job? Like, even after I was making like 4-figure weeks, they were like, oh, okay, like, still didn't believe me. Like, my dad still is not signed up to as a coach to this day, yet knows how successful I am in this. And my mom, I think it took her about a year and a half to get on board, but she didn't support it. They didn't believe it. A lot of times it's just that proof is in the pudding. Not that you have to be insanely successful, but I think it's just important to not push them in the beginning. Just do your thing and show them how much you love it, because if they see it's making you happy, they're your parents, they're going to care about that, hopefully, but they're going to know is, hey, if this is making her happy, and then they can see that, hey, it's actually a real thing, because some people think that this stuff is a scam, blah blah blah, but it's not. So it just comes with time. So don't let it bother you. I promise they will come around. It took my mom a year and a half to come around. So.
Yeah, well, I like showed them because they're like, well, it's just a pyramid scheme. I was like, there's literally a video that we watched that shows us how it's not a pyramid scheme.
Exactly. Yeah. And pyramid schemes are illegal. So
yeah.
If your parents ever want to hop on the phone with me, I'm more than happy to talk to them. I'm an open book. Awesome. Okay. And then lastly, Nicole. Hi. So share your name, where you're from, and why did you join as a coach?
Okay, so I'm Nicole, and I'm from Newark, Delaware. So honestly, I've always helped people, and I was working in the health food industry, and I just moved back from Florida.
I'm moving to Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
I just moved back from Clearwater Beach. It is gorgeous. I miss it.
Yeah.
But so I was going through a rough time moving back home. And then I got my CNA license, and so my energy level just dropped. Like, I'm everybody's support system in my family. I help everybody. I help my friends, but I don't have any support. And so my energy and my health was like, boom, declining. And it was like, oh, yeah, I'll work out. Never mind. I've got X, Y, and Z to do. And then my coach, Jackie, yay, coach of the month, just popped up and was like, hey, I noticed you were liking my post, because I wasn't even really looking for it. And then all of a sudden, she just started giving me all this extra support and then invited me to the group. And I was like, this is actually pretty awesome. So then I kind of just dived in the whole thing. And then I love the idea of helping people, getting healthy. And I can't, oh my gosh, your liquid yellow crack has like saved my life. So
Energize is a life for real. I love it.
Yeah.
So what is your biggest fear as a coach, and what are you most excited about?
So my biggest fear is, I guess, not getting to my goals fast enough. You know, the whole patience. You see the end result and you just want to jump to it. And then when nothing's happening, you're like, all right, we got to realize you're still really new at this. So I'm still just trying to experience everything. But so my biggest fear is not getting to my goals fast enough. But other than that, just sort of, you know, I'm winging it. But
yeah. So what are you most excited about?
What am I most excited about? Telling people about Shakeology and the products eventually, like long term, because it's only been like 3 weeks for me, and I have felt and seen like a huge difference, and I've already lost 5 pounds. Like, that's crazy. 3 weeks, right? So if I feel that in 3 weeks, like, I'm super excited to tell people about that.
Right? Imagine what you're going to feel like. And I always tell people, like, Shakeology is not something that, like, you drink just to, like, feel good for, like, you know, a month and then be done with it. Like, it's the same as you treat a multivitamin. Like, I used to buy a multivitamin, buy a probiotic, buy a digestive enzyme, and that was actually more than what I pay for Shakeology. And I let people know that, because a lot of people do at least buy a multivitamin, a probiotic, and some probiotics are, like, 40 or 50 bucks. So, it's something that once you, like, you're going to feel good, you know, right away, but drinking it long term, it starts to heal you from the inside out. So you're going to experience things, like, even, you know, in the next few months that you didn't even know, like, you could feel. Like, I love the quote, most people don't know how good their bodies are designed to feel. So that's really awesome. A really quick tip before I go into the rest of the call is, if you struggle with the patience and with understanding that this takes time, this is not a business that you're going to make $1,000 in a week, like right off the bat, you can definitely get there, and you can obviously move quicker. You just put more work into it, but to understand that is the book, The Compound Effect. It's one book that we recommend all coaches read. It's, I believe by Darren Hardy, but it's amazing. It really helps you understand the whole idea that, okay, I don't have to like rush doing this. It's going to come as long as you're consistent. That consistency will show over time. So awesome. Okay. Thank you guys so much for sharing. And I'm going to go full screen really quick, and then we'll go into, oh, no, there we go. Okay. I like to go full screen, but then, come on. My computer's being so slow today. There we go. Okay. So the purpose of this call is to, number one, to define your goals as a coach. So we're going to talk about, think about what do you want your life to look like 5 years and 10 years down the road. It's very important to understand this, because if you just join and you're kind of floating around and you have no end goal in mind, you're on the hard days, you're not going to push, and you're going to have nothing that's really in front of you that's tangible, that is something that you're aiming for. Number two is going to be to create a game plan to make those goals that we just talked about happen. So what do you need to do daily to make whatever it is, those dreams that are there, for you, happen? Number three, we're going to help you see your potential of this opportunity as a new coach. So what can it do for you and your family? And then we're going to very briefly, because I used to have this call and teach it, but now that we have the new training, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm going to talk about the main way that I go about meeting people and how I really teach the team to do so. But there's lots of ways to do it. So don't feel that the way we teach is the only way. Why? Listen to the National Wake Up Call. The National Wake Up Call today talked about a new way to meet people that I've never even heard of before. So if you haven't listened to that, you can go to the Team Beachbody Coach 411 page, and there's a video recording of it, or you can always call back the number. You get an email letting you know about the National Wake Up Call. Okay, so number one, your goals as a new coach. So I love this quote. The indispensable first step to getting things you want out of life is decide what you want. So many people are striving and they're just climbing the ladder, and they're doing this and they're doing that, but they don't really know what it is you want. So you have to be very clear and concise of what you want in this business. So this is like a mock dream board that you could have. I really recommend doing a dream board or a vision board where you print things offline, you use magazines, and you cut out things. Like if you for me, one of my goals is to have a certain amount of money in my savings. So when I have a wedding, now I don't have to ball out at my wedding, but if I want something, I don't want to have to worry about whether I can afford it or not. So that's something that pushes me towards my goals. So I have some physical things, like there's a certain car I'd like to drive. There's certain places I'd like to live. There's certain places I'd like to take the diamonds for a diamond retreat. And then there's things, you can put in your vision board about like mindset and things like that. But because it's not just all about the physical things, you know what I mean? But thinking about what it is that you want out of this whole thing. So these are some things that can help you decide that. So you can take a screenshot of this. You don't have to answer them right now. There's something I want you to answer later. But number one, why did you decide to join as a coach? So we kind of talked about that already. What drew you to this opportunity specifically? Those kind of go hand in hand. And this third question is something I find very important for new coaches to understand is there something that your coach shared or talked about that spoke to you? So the reason why I talk about this is because it's going to be different for each person. So for me, one of the things that drew me to coaching was seeing my coach post about hanging out with the other coaches, and they went to events and they did things, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so fun. I want to do that. I want to be friends with all these cool people. And so the community and my coach posting about that is what drew me to it. Now there's other people who see that their coach had like some killer results, and they realize that coaching kept them accountable. That's what drew them to it. So think about, and the reason why you want to think about what drew you to it is because it's your vibe attracts your tribe. Whatever attracted you to coaching is most likely what is going to cause the people that follow you to be drawn to coaching. So if you join for community, you're most likely going to attract people that want to join for community. If you join for the health and fitness aspect, you kind of get the idea. Then the last two, what does your dream life look like? Something that I love doing a few times a year, and I keep it with me. It's actually on one of my boards somewhere in this house. It's a letter to myself a few years down the road. So you can do it 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road of what you want your life to look like. And you're basically writing a letter to yourself as if you're like a pen pal. So it's like, good morning, Alexis. I just woke up in Austin, Texas in a 3-story mansion. I don't know, whatever. Like whatever you want. And then you talk about what your life looks like and the fact that you and your husband don't have to go to work. So you wake up and you drink coffee, and then you take the dogs for a walk, and you come home and you do yoga, and then you go teach fitness classes. I don't know, whatever it is that you want your life to look like. Writing a letter to yourself is very powerful because it gets you excited to be like, oh my gosh, I could totally do this. And this business 100% can give you that. You know what I mean? So, and that kind of ties into what do you want to do in 5 years? What do you want to do in 10 years? One more thing I want to add before I move on, which I feel like is very important, which I didn't always talk about, but recently I've pushed it a lot more, is to, yes, it is very important to think about what you want your life to look like and the good and all that stuff. But you also want to think, and this to me is more motivating, is to think about, okay, think about like all the things that you currently struggle with, whether it's mindset, whether it's financial things, whether you're, you know, always living paycheck to paycheck, whatever it is that you're struggling with now, not just your life in general, because we all like love our family and whatnot, but what are you struggling with? And then ask yourself, are you going to be okay with if in 5 years your life is still the same as it is now? And for me, the things that I struggle with, or if I thought about that when I was a brand new coach, oh my gosh, no, I was like the overdraft queen. I like was always late for everything. Like I always constantly thought about money all the time, and I could never pay for anything. And you know, and it's obviously not just about money. There's lots of different things that you can be struggling with. But when you think about that, that's like a lot more real, because it's like that's happening right now versus like, yes, I would love to live in this amazing house in this amazing city, blah, blah, blah. But like, I can't see that just yet. But you can see what your life is like now, and no one wants to continue to struggle for the next 5 years with the same things that they're struggling with. So keep that in mind. Okay. So let's think for a second. These are the different things that, you know, Beachbody coaching can help you in your life, you know, change. So for example, family is one of them. So do you want to create a brighter future for your kids? Do you want to show them what's possible with hard work? Is there a dream home that you want, a vacation home that you want? Maybe you're somebody who never really got to go on vacation. You know, maybe your parents couldn't afford it. Maybe you want to change that for your kids. You want to be, you know, the parent, not that that's everything, but you know what I mean? Like these things can be done through this when you work hard enough. 2 is financial freedom, something that I didn't even know was going to happen when I joined. I joined for the community aspect of it. So do you want to pay off debt? Do you want to build up a savings and retirement? For the first time in my life, guys, I have, you know, savings. I grew up not always being able to save money just because I tried, but when you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, and 75% of the US lives paycheck to paycheck. So I know that people are struggling with that. I think I was listening to a podcast with my boyfriend, something about like, there's like 80% of people live with $200 in their bank account at all times or something like that without any savings. Like that's frightening. And most people do it. But with this, especially if you're even doing this as a side income in the beginning, which I was too, I was working 3 jobs, I was going to nutrition school, it was paying for my groceries, it was paying for my gas, it was, you know, doing these little things that like the feeling that you feel when your Beachbody money pays for your groceries and not your regular income is the best feeling ever. So do you want to never be late on bills? Do you not want to live paycheck to paycheck anymore? 3rd thing is time freedom. Again, something I didn't realize I was going to gain. Not having a boss, not having a set 9-to-5 schedule. And yes, if you're working this business, you do have to have the discipline to discipline yourself. But like for me, I used to be a bartender, and if I wanted to ask off for 4th of July or New Year's Eve, there was no way. I had to work those days. And the fact that someone gave me a 9-to-5 schedule and I had to show up when they told me so, I didn't want that anymore. So if that's something that you want, if you want to be able to have that time freedom to maybe just, hey, I'm going to leave my house and go work at the coffee shop in the city, like that could be something that could be, you know, in your vision board or in the forefront of your mind. And the last thing is purpose. You know, what do you want to leave on this world when you leave? Like what kind of impact do you want to leave on it? Do you want to inspire others to build their dreams, which is the best feeling? Like obviously right now as a new coach, like you guys are just trying to figure it all out, but the best feeling is when you get a coach to join and then they start seeing it, they start earning an income, and they start changing others' lives. Nothing beats that. Okay. And then just when you're doing all this, just really think, you know, why are you here? What kind of mark do you want to leave on the world? And are you ready to commit and sacrifice to make it happen? Because this business is not easy, but it's simple. And you have to remember that. So this business is not easy. It's hard, but it's simple. So we give you all the tools you need. And if you just show up and work consistently at it, you just, have to keep going. And know that, and by sacrifice, I don't mean that you can like never see your family and you have to lock yourself in a bomb shelter and never talk to anybody again. I don't do that. I enjoy life, and I was enjoying it as I was building this business, but there's going to be times where you might have to stay up a little bit later, wake up a little earlier just to get certain things done. It's not all the time, but it's just sometimes. Entrepreneurship is living life like most people won't for a few years, so then you can live a life that most people will never be able to. So that is something really, really important to keep in the back of your head. So your goal is the destination. Your game plan is the roadmap. So we kind of talked about the goals and what you want to achieve for your family and financial and time freedom. So let's talk about a game plan as a new coach. So these are my top 5 tips for a new coach. Number 1 is set aside time every single day for your business. Whether you only have 10 minutes or you have 3 hours, you have to set aside time. We do recommend aiming. If you can definitely get an hour in, like, you're solid. Even 30 minutes is still better than nothing. I actually built my business in the beginning, which is like 30 minutes a day. Now, it takes a little bit longer, obviously, but once you kind of build up and you get more productive and you make sure that you're not sitting down to work your business and you're scrolling and calling that working. That is not working. That is just scrolling. So you have to separate that time, but you'll get better at managing that. We teach a lot of that in the new coach training as well. I'm going to treat this like you invested $1 million. I can guarantee if any of you guys spend $1 million on that challenge pack to join, you would be inviting like 5 million people right now. You know what I mean? So you got to treat it like that. Number 2, plug into the team training and resources. You guys are a part of one of the top teams in the company. We are currently ranked in the top 500 of the company right now, and there's almost 500,000 coaches. Now, out of 500,000 coaches, probably only about like 60,000 work the business, if that, and maybe like 20,000 are like really straight up like killing it. So everybody always thinks that like the market is saturated. It's really not. There's 570 million people in the North America alone. That doesn't even include the UK. So there's lots of people. But plug into the team training and resources. We have the 7-day quick start. We have the 21-day coach training. We're about to come out with an elite booklet that myself and another coach are working on that literally gives you exactly what you need to do in terms of like a daily checklist. So plug into that. Number 3 is to remember, overwhelm is a choice. Work from a list. If the only reason you're feeling overwhelmed is because you aren't following systems, see tip 2. So, and it's okay. I'm not saying that you can never feel overwhelmed, because there is a lot of stuff. There's the team page and there's groups and there's calls and there's all this stuff. But if you're overwhelmed with the people that you're talking to, if you're overwhelmed with social media or you're overwhelmed with follow-ups, that just means you're not following a system. So as you go through the training, you learn about things like Google Streak or having more than just a pen and paper contact list, which is okay in the beginning because you're still figuring things out. Once you kind of have a system, I'm telling you guys, everything makes so much more sense and you actually become less stressed. Yes, it takes time to set up things like Google Streak, but once you have it set up, I went from struggling to hit Success Club 5 and help 3 people to like I hit Success Club 20 every month now because of that. Last 2 tips. Personal development is your secret weapon. It is going to be your tool belt that you wear constantly, as long as you're doing it constantly, to help you if you have fear, if you don't like rejection, if you don't handle haters well, whether it's your family or your friends, if you have doubt in yourself, self-confidence, anything like that, there is a personal development book for it. Just message your coach and we will help you pick one. We don't like just giving a suggestion for a book. It's more like, what are you struggling with? But it's going to help you combat all of those things. I am as confident as I am now and in the position I am now solely because of personal development and obviously, the community aspect of the team and the support. But personal development is what gets me through it every day. And it's just like fitness. If you read personal development for a few months and then you're like, oh, I think I'm good now, it's going to become flabby like a muscle. Your brain is just going to be mush. So you have to keep working on it every single day and you're just going to feel better. You're just going to feel so much better. And then number 5, this is so important. Consistency is key. The work you put in now will usually not show up until about 3 months down the road. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't earn an income in your first, few weeks. It doesn't mean that you cannot see success in your first few weeks. But normally that consistent paycheck, that consistent income usually won't show up until you're consistently reaching out to people, posting on social media, sharing your journey. Those are very important. Okay, so simple steps as a new coach. You may have taken some of these steps already. Number one is announce that you're a coach. This is very important. It's just like opening a business, but never letting people know that you're open. Nobody's going to know you're open for business if you don't make that announcement that, hey, I've decided to, join it or start, this health and fitness coaching thing. I'm new to it. I'm figuring out, but I love the community aspect, and it just feels so good to be a part of something and learn and grow. That's going to attract some people. And even if they don't say anything, they're watching. Number two, start sharing your journey. Share what you're doing. Make sure you're not sharing. We have something called curiosity marketing, and this is something very important to understand. Back in the day, when I first started coaching, there was attraction marketing, and that worked. Attraction marketing was I could just drink my Shakeology and share it and call it Shakeology and say, oh my gosh, guys, I love Shakeology, and say every product name and just share what you're doing, and people were attracted to it. They wanted to do it. But it's been around for a bit. So now we do something called curiosity marketing. Nicole said it perfectly when she said my magic yellow crack. I have never called Energize on my social media, because if I called it Energize, somebody could just go Google Energize and buy it. Even if they love me, even if they follow me, some people don't even realize that they can buy through you. I don't get it, but they can. So curiosity marketing is basically just talking about whatever you're doing, like my delicious superfood shake that tastes like a cookie dough milkshake, and it's literally the equivalent of six salads. That is going to get a lot more like, whoa, wait, what is that? I want to know messages versus saying this is Shakeology, this is Recover. I try not to even show the Shakeology shaker. I try to not even show anything, just more so like it in a glass. If I use Energize, I'm like, this stuff is literally the best thing in the world, and it's plant-based and a low-dose caffeine. Like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then you get messages from people that say, what is that? So that's what you want to do. So while you're sharing your journey, I don't even call 80-day obsession 80-day obsession. I call it, 80 days of badassery. I call it my 80-day program. That keeps that curiosity in people. So that's something you want to remember when you're sharing your journey. And you want to also remember that when you're a coach, you are not a Beachbody coach. Beachbody coaching is a part of your life. So as you can see on my social media, sometimes people don't even know I'm a coach, and you'll get better at that. I was terrible in the beginning. I was just posting stock images of like 21 Day Fix and like all this, like literally just taking pictures from like the internet and posting them on my page. I wasn't even taking my own pictures. But share your journey. So not just the fitness and the workouts. I like to share that I love music festivals and my dog and my boyfriend and, doing X, Y, and Z, like the things that you enjoy. If you have kids, whatever it is that are your interests, maybe you like making baby food. I don't know. Like share that with the world, and you will attract your people. Next step is to invite to free challenges. I do recommend that you never really invite to a regular group before you invite to a free group. This helps you in so many ways. Number one, it's really easy to just invite to a free group. When you're a new coach, you're really nervous and you're like, I don't know if I want to get somebody to buy something. Don't worry about that. Just invite them to a free group. We usually, as a team or ask your upline, we usually run a free clean eating group the second week of every single month. So it's the same calendar every single month. So if you're talking to people, I usually say after 3 weeks of talking to them and just building a relationship, getting to know them, you don't have to wait, because this is another question I always get from coaches. How do I move the conversation over to health and fitness so then I can invite them to something? I don't. I just become friends with them. I get to know them. I comment on their Instagram story. I comment on their Instagram. I message them like, oh my gosh, I just saw you got back from Mexico. How was that? Like, I'm just building relationships with people. And then once my free clean eating group comes up, I just kind of bulk invite all the people that I just kind of built new relationships with or with following up with from the months before. And I'm just like, and I like sending a voice message. And I'll say this and let me know if you guys think this sounds salesy. Hey girl, totally meant to mention this to you the other day, but I forgot. Me and my team are actually holding this like free clean eating group. I don't know if you'd be into this kind of thing, but you're gonna get a free grocery list or a free meal plan. It's really fun accountability. We give away prizes for participating. We have like plank challenges and water challenges. You can even do workouts if you want. There's lots of really cool stuff. I'd love to have you. No worries. If not, just wanted to let you know you're awesome. I'll talk to you later. That's not salesy. That's not gross. And I just sent her a message. I was like, hey, like, I don't know if you'd be interested in this or not. Cause I feel like it's just like, hey, we were just building a relationship, whatever. That's kind of what I do. So then you invite to the free group, which I recommend every new person that you talk to, just get them into a free group. Now I run also different kinds of free groups. So like I have my free meditation affirmations group. So once you get to the point where maybe you're comfortable with running a free group that is something that you're interested in, and we go over this in the new coach training, but you could run a free group about making baby food, about making swaddling babies. I don't know. I personally don't know how to swaddle a baby, and if I have kids, I'm gonna have to learn how. So like if you were good at that, I'd join your free group. So you know can do things like that, but you'll learn about that in the new coach training. So once you invite them to the free group, they get in the free group because most people love free stuff. You know, you check in with them, they go through the group, and then once the group is over, you invite them to your challenge group. And we kind of go over this in the new coach training, but that's like the perfect way to do it because you're like, hey, I just, you know, gave you a ton of value. In this group, we're having another, you don't have to say I gave you value, but like you've given them value, they're more likely versus you just going to them and saying, hey, do you want to buy Shakeology from me? And you learn this in the training, but we do not lead with the program, with the products and the programs, we lead with the group. So keep that in mind. And just reaching out, reading personal development, sticking with it and never giving up. Those things are so important as a new coach, keeping them in the back of your head. You're going to hear them a lot, but it's really important. You get this new coach checklist, but we're actually coming out with a new checklist that can be used. So you can use this for now. I know you guys got it in the new coach training. I do recommend using some kind of checklist. If you're not tracking what you're doing, number one, it makes it so much easier. So you don't have to really think about what do I need to do. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use the checklist to your benefit. So at the end of the week, if you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't even helped one person, and you look back and you haven't even invited one person all week, you know where you're slacking. Okay, so I'm gonna breeze through this because again we go over this in the training, but creating a contact list weekly is so important. We talk about how, you know, you can go through hashtags, making sure that they're not like super generic, like clean eating, vegan, like make it something super specific. Like, you know, maybe if you were a vegan, you could do vegan breakfast recipes or like something that specific. It's going to narrow it down so you can kind of find more people if you're using those hashtags on your pictures too. When you're using hashtags on your pictures, make sure that they're, you know, they're a little bit more specific. You know, new followers, people that like, you know, pictures going through. And this is when you're looking for new people to reach out to. Because you know, we teach you in the training, the process of adding new people to your contact list each week, finding them somehow through Instagram, whether you go through the location tag, maybe there's a juice place or a Whole Foods in your area, go to the location tag, look through the pictures, find people, and then be like, oh my gosh, girl, I saw you just went to the juice place down the street. I've been wanting to try that green juice. Like, how was it? Or whatever. But there's ways that you can find people at, you know, Facebook groups, whatever, add them to your contact list and make sure you're doing that each week. If you consistently add just like 15 people a week or more, if you're going for bigger goals, 15 people a week, and you're reaching out to that many people and consistently doing that, you're going to build up slowly this huge snowball that just rolls over, and you're continuously adding people. Some people are like, you know, maybe don't respond, whatever. But you're going to continuously add people to that list. And then you're just reaching out to them. So again, not going into this super deep because I could have a whole hour call on this, but it's just the formula of start the conversation with them. And it's not, hey, tell me about your health and fitness. It's just talking to them about something that they posted, whether it was their kid or a dog or really cute leggings that they had. Just start a conversation and just go back and forth. Like, you know, those people that you kind of comment back and forth on their Instagram story, and you like always comment back and forth on each other's stuff. You want to do that with multiple people each week. And there's going to be people that fall off, and there's going to be people that you continue to build relationships with. Then moving them over to Facebook just to continue to be friends with them. And that's when you invite to the free group, invite to the challenge group. That's really it. It's really simple, guys. If you follow that formula and learn about it, obviously, in the new coach training, it's going to save your life. You're not going to really have to think about who and what and all that stuff. It really figures it all out for you. And then this is something else you can do is if you post, which you should be once a week, you should be posting about a call to action to your clean eating group, a call to action to your challenge group, or a call to action to coaching. And when people like it, you can reach out to them because they liked it. And you can even put in your caption, like this if you'd like more information. Then you reach out to them and you say, hey girl, I just saw that you liked my post about my clean eating group. I just wanted to see, I didn't know if you were just liking for support or if you wanted more information. No worries if not, just didn't want to leave you hanging. not salesy, not gross. Most people will be like, oh yeah, I just was liking for support, but I'd love to know more about your group. Those are really good ways. The first way is kind of a little bit longer because you have to build that relationship before you invite, but this is a good way. Maybe it's the end of the month and you kind of got to get some people in there, and you should be doing this all the time anyway. I've found tons of people that just happen to like my post, but they just didn't want to reach out. Some people they do want to reach out, but they're just kind of lazy to do it. So this is a great way to do that. Okay, so this is the last part of the call, guys, and then I will let you go. I just like to share some stories of successful Beachbody coaches in the network. Mindy, and these videos are a little bit old, but this is Mindy Wender. She is one of the most successful Beachbody coaches in the entire network, and she is one of the most integrated people in the world. So this is her story. Oh, the computer doesn't like me right now. Hold on.
Before I became a Beachbody coach, I was an office manager with a baby at home. And I hated leaving my son. I absolutely hated it. I had to miss his first time crawling, his first time walking. My husband was laid off for 6 months, and he was the breadwinner of the family. When I walked in the door, there's a stack of bills. How are we even going to pay these bills when we're just living off my income? Every single day we were fighting about how we were going to pay this, how we were going to pay that. We ended up having to go on state aid. My sister, she was talking to me on the phone, and I said that we're having noodles again tonight. And she said, again? My sister actually went out and bought us groceries that week. And so, struggling so bad, we were stressed, we were broke as a joke, and I was just expecting a miracle to just change my life. One day I came across my coach online, and I asked her, what is this coaching opportunity all about? I'm from a super small town, and there was not one coach near me. I was like, well, how can I do this when I'm shy to even go up to somebody and talk to somebody? And she reassured me. She's like, I did have all the same doubts as you, and this is what's changing my life. So when I first started this, I was like, there's no way, I have no time because I work 40 hours a week, I have a baby. But I really sat down and I realized that if this is important to me, I need to make time for it. A miracle wasn't going to just land in my lap. I needed to do something different if I wanted something different. And this changed everything. After just 12 months, I was making triple every week than what I was making at my full-time job, working 40 hours a week. After just a year and 3 months in this business, I quit my full-time job as an office manager.
Our 2012 Elite Coaching.
Being a Beachbody coach is the most rewarding job on the planet, in my opinion. So many positive changes have come out of this. We have paid off all of our debt, and we just actually moved into our brand new house a couple months ago, and it's fabulous. Also, if we want to come to Disney World, if we want to go to the beach or wherever, we can just pick up and go. I'm the happiest I've ever been. My marriage is the strongest it's ever been. I work at home, so most of my time is just playing with my kids, and I still just do this part-time that I'm able to do as I'm a full-time mom, which is priceless. That's like number one to me.
All right, and then I want to share one more story. This is not Robin Chelsea. Where's Robin Chelsea? Where'd the video go? Oh, it disappeared. All right, well, we're gonna share Amy's. I like Amy's too. I don't know where the other video went, but then this will be the last one.
I'm Amy Silverman. I'm 28 years old, and I'm from Portland, Oregon. I've always struggled financially. I was a waitress and a student pretty much my whole life. The worst part about being a waitress, you start to feel like you can't do anything else. I was drinking and going out and doing drugs. My whole life was falling apart. My parents pretty much stopped helping me financially at that point. I just always thought I'd be taken care of. Everything just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Every night at the end of a 13-hour shift, we'd eat a lot of pizza, a lot of dairy. I developed cystic acne from the environment and the stress and the food, and I ballooned up to a size 12. I was calling myself fat every day, and my acne got so bad that it was painful. Well, I remember one day I wanted to get fish and chips, and it was our last $10, and we got the fish and chips, and I remember the fries were super soggy, and the fish was nasty, and I got so frustrated that I threw it, and I just made this huge scene, because it was our last $10. I was stressed out about my body, and my health, and we couldn't afford any food, and I couldn't do anything. Just like the hardest time of my life. There was a girl on Facebook, and we were both supporting each other on our weight loss journeys. She was trying different things, and I was going to the gym. She mentioned she was a coach, but she was just really trying to lose weight. 6 months after we had both started, she posted a transformation photo, and she had lost 30 pounds. I was floored by her results. She had done Power 90 and P90X with Shakeology. And I was just like, I want to do that. And she was like, well, you're probably in too good a shape for Power 90, so let's get you started on P90X. The support of the community and the coach was huge for me. And so I finished P90X. I was feeling more confident. I was feeling stronger. Things were starting to fit better. I was noticing that people in the groups who were getting better results were drinking Shakeology. So I signed up as a coach, and I committed to Shakeology and Insanity. And then it was with Shakeology and Insanity that I got down to a size 2 in 60 days. In 2011, I had been working all year long, hitting Success Club, working my butt off, just trying everything in my power to earn that trip to the Bahamas and make enough money to quit my job. I had put in my 3 months notice for the trip. So 2 weeks before the trip, my boss was like, yeah, we're not going to be able to give you the time off. Sorry. And at that point, I had started to see my potential with the business. So I went in and I was like, you know what? I quit. It felt really good. It felt really empowering. It was just one of those things that you always want to do, but you can't because you're stuck. That week, I went full-time Beachbody, and it wasn't until I got to the Success Club trip that I really started to see like what Beachbody was. And I started seeing the potential. And it was when I came back from that I started really making big goals with the company. It'll be 3 years in April that I started working the business. I've had the same car that I had in high school up until like a couple months ago. And Beachbody finally afforded us to be able to buy a car. And I never ever thought in a million years that I would ever own a luxury vehicle. What has really changed in my life has been the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to answer to a boss. That's the best. You can just be you and travel and do whatever you want. And it's just been really rewarding.
Awesome. Amy's one of my favorite Beachbody coaches. You can follow her on Instagram. Her life is ridiculous. Okay, so let's just talk about the action items. So after watching this call, I want you guys to think about, and you can message your coach this, you can share it in the team page, whatever you want to do, but think about what are 3 goals you have for yourself as a new coach. So whether that's hitting Success Starter, which is hitting Success Club in your first 3 months, and your first month being the first and the second, just because they give you a full first, 1 month. So they don't for people who sign up on the 31st, they don't want to only give you 1 day. So do you want to be Success Starter and earn your free ticket to Summit? Do you want to hit Emerald, whatever it is that you want to do, think about those goals. Also ask yourself, how much time are you willing to put per day to grow your business? I always ask people this. If I audited you, how much time do you think I could find of you scrolling on social media? Because a lot of people say that they don't have time, but they are spending a lot of time scrolling social media. So really audit yourself and think about how much time you're spending on social media and dedicate that time to something that could actually be fulfilling and pay you, because scrolling doesn't pay you. And I wish it did, but it doesn't. And then the last is, what is one thing you learned on this call that really spoke to you? So whether it was one of the videos, whether it was something about the goals, whatever it is, think about whatever it spoke to you, and then share with your coach, whatever it is. But that's really it. So thank you guys so much for hopping on this call. I really appreciate it. Keep kicking butt with the training. If you have any questions while you're going through the training, you could always post in that page. I know that there's not posts necessarily, but you're more than welcome to do that. You can always ask your coach, whatever you need to do. And we will, hold on, I just thought of something. I always think of things as I'm talking, and I have to write them down because I have the worst memory. But we will be there to help you out. So I hope you guys have an awesome night. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the recording, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys, and have an awesome rest of your day.